Hi, my name is Jeremy. This is Redbeans. I already screwed this up. This is Redbeans Recording, a music channel dedicated to music and music hardware. And I've been doing some videos on the Elektron Digitone, which you see in front of you. It's a 4-channel FM groovebox synthesizer. It's really cool. And we've been doing some random stuff with it. I've kind of just been flailing through making some patches, showing off the Arpeggiator, showing off how to make drum tracks with a single track and stuff like that. And this is maybe the final video. I don't know. This is sort of the last thing I can think of that I want to show off for the Digitone. If you have something that you would like to see with it, why don't you tell me in the comments, in the area below the video where the words happen. Be nice, because sometimes people aren't nice, and I don't really understand why. I mean, it's a synthesizer. Why are you telling me to kill myself? I already want to do that. I don't need your advice. Today I want to show off how a little trick that it's not really a trick. It's like using the Arpeggiator in different division amounts at a really low tempo to get sort of this cool, spacey, generative ambient thing going on. I think the Elektron Digitone really excels at ambient, among other things, because it's just such a unique thing, and the Elektron sequencer is really cool. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go into my metronome and turn down this to really low, like 60. Just super chill. Hope you're not too cold. Put on a sweatshirt or something. Okay, I got that now. So then I want to decide on some notes. I guess that's fine. I want to go turn on my ARP. And the ARP here, the Arpeggiator, has speed amounts. Obviously, it can go from 1-1, which is one note every measure, all the way up to 96 notes per step. Wait, is that right? Let me turn it on. Yeah, so really, really fast. 96 notes per measure or something like that. Yes. Okay, so but I want this, so let me reset. Divisions of 8 and 4 are going to be like normal rhythmic amounts for 4/4 music. 4/4 being stuff that you normally associate with like techno and stuff like that. It's a pretty normal time thing. But if you go to like 120, you start dividing the beat in a different way. And if you start using the cool, how did I end up doing that in a real pattern? I don't want a real pattern. I want it to be weird, and I want to turn this like that. And I want it to basically just sort of like be weird and rolly and not make a lot of sense. And I want to give it the opportunity to sort of just speak on its own, kind of roll through this weird thing. I don't want it to make sense with the time signature, basically. Wonderful. Okay, in order for this effect to work, not only do we want a really low tempo and an interesting sort of cut-out pattern with the Arpeggiator, but and a non-4/4 subdivision for the time, but we also want a fair amount of measures here, because we want that Arpeggiator to have a chance to be weird and cycle through as much weirdness as it possibly can be. Cool. So I don't actually have to play that for the whole time, because I can go into trig edit mode, hold this down, and each one of these measures is 16 steps. So we want this trig to be 64 steps. So let's go, oops, that's velocity. Let's go ahead and turn this up to 64, like that. Okay, cool. You can hear it's beating against the metronome. It doesn't really make much sense rhythmically, but that's what we want. In fact, I might even turn the Arpeggiator down even more to like, there we go. Let's go ahead and turn up some effects on this. I just spit all over the Digitone. Sorry. So we're going to turn our delay to send to our reverb, and we're going to turn this to ping pong, and we're going to make our reverb long because we're going to go for an ambient thing here, and that's how that shit works. So boop, we're going to go to this menu and turn up our delay. And because we're using an arpeggiator time division that's not on the 4/4 grid, that delay is going to kind of be not on the 4/4 grid. Obviously, I could change the delay time, but I'm just going to leave it as it is. You can kind of hear it like beating against itself. So that's really cool. So I haven't even done anything to sound design yet. I've just messed with the arpeggiator, and that's super cool. One thing I will note, I don't think I actually said out loud, is that I changed the length of the arpeggiator to be not 16 steps either. So it's going to reset and cycle in a weird way as well. So the next thing we'd want to do is some sound design to this sound. Let's see, what could we do? We want to make the sound design of this patch also be strange and not really make much sense. And I can think of a couple ways to do that. I'm going to try using the random hold method for a sort of step and hold effector on whatever thing I'm going to send it to by switching the trig mode to hold and switching the waveform to random. And I'm going to turn up this depth and just see what makes me happy. I'm going to turn this down, something like that. There we go. Cool. So I just have now the, there's a couple things going on. One, I told operator B to come in with this envelope here, which is where you're hearing that rise and fall of the overtone things. I'm going to screw with that a little bit more. But I also have LFO2 set to that step and hold thing that we talked about earlier now, which is changing the ratio of operator B and giving us different overtones every single time that thing hits. And you can play with this and see if it's maybe something that you want differently. But I kind of like that. I think that's cool. Now I'm playing with the actual ratio of the bass ratio over tone B, excuse me, operator B, because I want to see if I can get something different or interesting. And now I'm going to play with the algorithm because algorithms are powerful on your basically your bass structure for your patch. I think one's the best. I'm going to turn down this a bit. Cool. Okay. So you're thinking, wow, Jeremy, that's really fantastic. You just made a sound that goes blippity bloop plop. And that's true. I did. But if we go over to a different sound and do a similar but different thing where we're using a different ARP time and stuff like that, then we can start making you think that this is sort of just a randomized sort of generative patch going on here. And maybe you just want to sit and listen to it for a while. I don't know. I mean, I have on occasion just sat up here and made these kind of things and just sat and listened to them, and they sound good. I like it. Let's go back to, was it 3? Yeah, so we have reverb on that. And let's see. I have an idea. I'm trying to do some math in my head about the duration of this ARP and its speed and trying to make it as weird and not right as possible. And also just make the sound interesting. Cool. Okay, we're going to call that good for the purpose of demoing. So we're going to go to sound 1 here, and we're going to go into our ARP, and we're going to turn it on. Okay, cool. So we really don't want this to make any sense either. Really sparse. Okay. And I think I want this to be like a bass thing. That's perfect. I love it. Great. So what I'm doing now is I've introduced space and weirdness, all these factors in here: the speed of the ARP, the duration length of the ARP pattern, and these rests, in conjunction with using a tonic, a perfect fifth, and a perfect fourth, which is going to the perfect fourth is going to act sort of as like a I don't know how to say it, like almost like a key change, not a key change, but it's going to add a bit of melodic progression to change that bass note in a way that will be cool when it hits, but it's not going to hit very often. It's not going to hit normally. So kind of going for a music for airports, Brian Eno kind of thing here. So again, I'm just going to play this, and I'm going to have to wait for it to come around again. I don't know if you can enter more than one note. Okay, so wherever that ended up, it's fine. Here it is. We're going to copy it, paste it to that first note, and we're going to make this trig nice and long. Just really nice and long. Like 64 again. Yeah, just like that. Okay, I really want... There we go. Nice. I feel like... Okay, first of all, that ARP is going up into a range I don't need it to. So our first ARP is now in a sort of triplet repetition pattern in terms of its speed, and our bass ARP here is in a 4/4 division, a 1/2 speed. So we're going to get even more weirdness, and I'm going to take the length of this and turn it to something that's not quite right for that speed. So now it should cycle even stranger. So now, because we have these two ARPs that are beating against each other in interesting ways, we never really know exactly how the notes from these two arpeggiators are going to interact with each other. And that's exactly what the point I wanted to get across after almost 20 minutes of video here, is that using these weird time signatures in both your arpeggiators and your rests and the length of the arpeggiator phrase, you can get some interesting results. So I'm going to play with this a little bit more and then come back and I'll show you what I ended up with. Okay? I'll be back in a second. Hey, I'm back. So I spent about half an hour playing with this, and here's what I got. Every track on this is using a different arpeggiator length, style, and randomization of various things. And then track 4 is just a deep note on the downbeat of measure 1 to give it some anchor when it comes back in. And that's Redmeans Recordings' hacky intro to making weird generative, semi-generative stuff on the Digitone. I think it's pretty cool. My name is Jeremy. This is Redmeans Recording. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a really wonderful day.